The show is about to start. Thank you for your cooperation. Enjoy the show, and please come back and visit us again.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the 9 Years podcast. I don't know why I said welcome back there. It's not like... I guess we've been away, I suppose. So it's a new episode. Anyway, hello. Thank you very much for joining us this week. Nick Draper here, joined by Stuart Deakins as always. Another busy week for AFC Wimbledon. Two defeats. I was going to say 2 games, but it was 2 defeats we have to talk through. West Ham in the Cup on Tuesday night. Before that, Sunderland in the league on Saturday. We'll be going through the key talking points of both those games. We also have all the usual. Neil Cockler's Pairs returns. We have more inappropriate Kirsty Gallacher this week, and I'm laughing just at the thought of it. We'll look ahead to the trip to Burton Albion on the weekend as well. And we also have a contest, which we will be judging the winner of later in the show. More about that when we get there. But to begin with, let's talk football. Why not? We might as well. It's a football podcast, allegedly. And as I say, the home defeat to Sunderland, then West Ham on Tuesday night. And I guess we have to start with refereeing decisions. That is the big topic of conversation amongst everybody at the club. And Stuart's kind of, I don't know if ironic is the right word, it's certainly sod's law that against West Ham we got an early red card off the back of questionable decisions from our friend John Busby on the Saturday, which led to Neil Ardley discussing some of the questionable decisions that we've received this season. Penalty that should have been awarded at home to Coventry, an offside goal away at Barnsley that was debatable, and then the Oviedo handball in that Sunderland game. I'm a little bit concerned, and I was a little bit concerned about hearing this afterwards, because Neil Ardley's got a bit of form for this. I remember a couple of years ago when he wrote to the FA about a number of decisions he felt had gone against us, and he was highlighting these decisions again. It's not a mindset you really want to be in, though, is it? To start thinking that referees are all against you and nothing goes for us.
Yeah, last year was always a bit of a worry, wasn't it? Because it felt like sometimes hiding behind that for the performance on the pitch. I think this year, it's a little bit different. We've had some real rough luck with decisions. I think the only thing I'm a bit concerned about is we don't start feeling sorry for ourselves that we don't get any luck and we don't get this and we don't get that, because it can become a mindset. And yeah, we have had some rough decisions, but I think we need to just put the referee decisions to bed. You can't change them. I would like us to be a bit different around referees in terms of being a bit more harassing, if I'm being honest with you, and stuff like that. Not that I'm one that loves referees being hounded by players and stuff like that, but if we look at certain players from Sunderland on Saturday, you just wonder sometimes, does that work? You know, Catamol was always amongst the referee, wasn't he? Chipping away, and you think sometimes referees are all human, so does that help? I don't know, but yeah, let's not start hiding behind them, because we have got 3 defeats on the spin, and we don't want to start feeling sorry for ourselves with also the refereeing decisions going against us also. We're off to a cracking start, Stu, this week with some of what you've just said there. Catamol was among the referee, was he? Well, I don't even know how that works. Well, you know what I mean, in terms of he was always chipping away, keep commenting, keep questioning the referee, and he's done it throughout his career. I said on Facebook Live, and I said to you after the game on Saturday, the funniest thing that made me laugh was that at one point the referee asked the captain, which wasn't Catamol, they asked the captain, which was Honeyman, to come over and talk to his player to keep him quiet. And I was thinking, this guy, you know, this Catamol's played Premiership football, etc., and Honeyman's literally 23, 24. Having to tell his senior pro off, which made me chuckle a little bit. Not that he listed anything to what was said anyway. It was indeed the funniest thing that made you laugh. Looking at these referee decisions, though, I mean, we're in agreement. They did seem to go against us. The only one I think which we can slightly question... Well, actually, let's pick up on the most recent ones. The handball, the Oviedo handball, which from all our vantage points in the stadium looked like the player at the time had leant into the ball right on the goal line. The only mitigating factor I can think as to why that wasn't given was the referee's view. And in fairness, if he's not 100% sure, he can't give it. No, he can't. The referees are not stupid. We all as football fans can see a body movement, and let's remember the header, I think, was it Piggott was the header from no more than 6 yards, if that. There was no way he could move his body and get his chest in line with it. There was just no way he could do it. The only way he could do it was his arm. And I think, yes, you have to be 100% correct, but also there's also a little bit of understanding that there's no way he could have done that without making the movement. And yeah, that was a frustrating thing. I think the linesman was the other side, not that the assistant referees wanted to get involved too much, and when they did, they were overruled.
The red card then, Tuesday night, which basically dictated how the remainder of that game went 1-0 up at the time. Rod McDonald, 2 bookings in quick succession, watching live, but from my vantage point inside the stadium, I didn't have any complaints with either of them. The first one, I think, Neil Ard leaving a minute afterwards, it's a booking. That he misses the ball and goes through Snodgrass, it's fair enough. The second one, people are debating more. I've got to be honest, having watched it back, the problem I had is at the time it looked like McDonald has stuck out his arm and pulled Hernandez back. That's what it looked like at the time. Half-time, getting all these comments coming to us in the stadium, from outside the stadium, people watching at home saying there was no contact whatsoever, it was a terrible decision. There is contact. He does go to make that pull, doesn't he? He does go to he reaches out to Paul Hernandez. It's daft. It's really daft. And if he doesn't do that, then the referee doesn't have the option to send him off. Yeah,
it's naive. It's just purely naive. I think I was a bit annoyed. There's no doubt that they were fired up, and some were more fired up than others. McDonald was definitely fired up, and I can understand that. But then you need to be able to then control your emotions, and to give away a yellow card on, I think in the end, it was 13 minutes. He gave away it's a sending off. It's actually a 5-minute sending off from the first to the second red, second card. But I just didn't understand why he was there. It looked like early on we went for a high press. I noticed when the ball broke down that Toby Civic was probably playing right wing at the time. So did we go for a high press or did we just get moved out that way? But I don't understand. From the halfway line, someone's got to do something spectacular to set a goal up from there. I didn't know why he was there. I think that was my frustration. He was on a yellow card on a night when we knew we were going to be defending. So that was the ill discipline was my issue. And then the second one, you're right. There's emotion, isn't there? And he ain't going. We can say that it's cheating, but we have to understand Premiership football, and also foreign players in the Premiership. They do see that as gamesmanship. If they feel something, they will go down. If they feel an arm, they will go down. And that's what he done. That's what he done. So I don't really have a major issue with the 2 yellow cards. I do have an issue with the fact that we've been a little bit ill-disciplined and left our team with 10 men against a team that we have struggled with for 11 all night.
You say that. I really do feel that had we maintained 11 men, that I think we'd have got something out of that, I know you can never say that for certainty. Of course you can't. But I just think the way we started, the way you put pressure on them from the very first, that's how we get the goal, by pressing high and putting a long ball in the box, having Hansen win headers and unsettle them, Pinnock joining in. I think there was enough there for us. I think we'd have got another goal, certainly.
Yeah, I agree. I did say I was sitting next to Mark Hendricks, and I did say to him when we scored the first goal, we probably need another one to get to penalties and a third one to win the game on the night. That was my feeling. I always thought West Ham would score, and when it went to 10 men, we went to 2 banks of 4. We pushed them out wide, and we'd done what 10 men do. I think if it had been 11 against 11, I agree. I think we'd have got 2. I don't know whether we'd have kept them out all night, because I think we'd have probably opened up by us attacking. But it would have been a better spectacle to watch. The night as a whole was great, but there's nothing worse than watching your team having to defend for 70 minutes. It was probably the most gruesome thing I've watched for a little while, because you were just like hoping against hope.
Gruesome.
Big word. Strange word.
Invented word.
Yes, that's word.
The dictionary of Stu is another world, really, isn't it? Yeah, it was exhausting watching us defend for that length of time, and it took the crowd right out of it, let's be honest, because when you've got nothing really to get yourself going, and you are just waiting, aren't you? You're just waiting for them either to score or for the game to go to penalties. Do you think, we've talked about refereeing decisions, substitution decisions, are we getting these right? Is there an argument that, yeah, we needed the 2 banks of 4, absolutely, but having got the equaliser, having seen West Ham get the equaliser, is there an opportunity there to maybe go 3 in midfield, 2 up top, and just give someone or get someone closer to James Hansen to give us something to to go for. And if we end up getting hammered 4 or 5, then does it make much of a difference really at that stage?
Yeah, Neil Hardy obviously an interview with Sky, which was, we both said already, was an excellent interview with Neil Hardy. He basically said, didn't he, that he wanted to go 2 up top, wanted to really ask them some questions, put balls into the box. So you sort of wonder, did he toy the idea? He didn't make the sub straight away. So, McDonald was sent off on the 18th minute, and it took us 8 minutes to make a sub, which suggests, one, that we didn't have the players warmed up enough, which is debatable. Or 2, there was a real dilemma. What do we do? There's so many different things you could have done. Could have gone to 3 at the back, played your 3, could play 3-4-1. I was toying the idea, do you take Hartigan off and maybe play
3-4-2, sorry.
3-4-2. Or do you take Hartigan off and put Wagstaff in midfield to have more legs around? There was loads of little suggestions, wasn't there? But I think if we could have kept 2 up, that might have helped. But it's all right saying that in hindsight, but if we'd done that and then got on the end of a 5-6-1 defeat, then everyone's gone, why do you not just take one forward off? So hindsight's a great thing. I remember looking at the bench for quite a while, and you could tell they were deep in discussion of what to do. Maybe that did come across their mind, but the thing is, what you don't want to do, you don't want to be on the end of a heavy defeat. We're now 3 defeats on the spin, and we can talk about performances and refereeing decisions and a bit of bad luck, but it's still 3 defeats on the spin now, and we've got to stop that rot. So that probably was a dilemma last night of what to do.
And the argument in his defence is that we're 7-8 minutes away from penalties, and after all that hard work, all that fantastic defending that we put in, Sibic and Nightingale and Osulaja all outstanding, I thought, on the evening, and then we just give away such a poxy goal. Poxy just seems the most apt word to describe it. And Deji, I don't know what's happened. He's ducked under a ball from a corner, and he's left the player with a tap in.
Oh, it was not even a tap in. It didn't look like a tap in. It looked like it just hit the player, didn't it?
Yeah, there was an element of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really weird one. I must admit, I watched it back. I got back just before midnight, and I watched the goals. Obviously, I knew how good our goal was because I was down at the end at the time. I was down with the same end for all 4 goals. I didn't realise that Deji, it looked like he either lost the flight of the ball or didn't want to touch it for the fear of scoring an own goal. It looked like he was really, he missed all the big men, didn't it? They've all sort of like died on him. And it's one of those ones, John, if Deji had scored an own goal, you'd have gone, hey, that's really unlucky. But the way he sort of got out of the way of it and then a really easy finish at the back stick, it felt like a bit of it felt like an anticlimax, didn't it? Because you really, for a Premiership club, you're thinking if they're going to beat you, you want them to beat you with pure quality. So the first goal can live with that. I can see why it happened. We got overloaded. We ended up they knocked it every time. If you remember on Tuesday night, Snodgrass, he must have played the same ball 20 times in terms of out to Philip Anderson, because that was the ball all night. But in the end, they just kept switching, and they scored a goal from a centre half. But it was a decent strike, even though you could argue that Tom King on his near stick. But to concede a goal of what I call League One standard for their technically winner, you just feel a little bit, wow, I can live with you just knocked it 25 yards top corner.
It was almost as if the West Ham fans were embarrassed. They didn't really celebrate it.
Were they there? I didn't really hear them too much on Tuesday night.
I heard a sort of very small cheer when that goal went in, as almost to say, after all this time, after 40 minutes of trying to pass and break our way through, we've just ended up lumping a ball in the box and getting a bit fortunate. I mean, the flip side to all of this, of course, is as much as we were defending against West Ham, against Sunderland, we were somewhat more attacking, and we actually created a couple of chances. I think I must mention this. So West Ham fans have been on social media and everything discussing the game and saying how much they battered us in that second half. And the response from a lot of Wimbledon fans has been, well, our goalkeeper didn't really much have anything to do, if at all. Didn't really have a save to make. It's a bit of a logic flaw. I think there's a bit of consistency lacking there, because we said the same thing about Walsall. We battered Walsall. That's what people have been saying. We battered Walsall, but their goalkeeper didn't have a save to make. So which one is it? Against Sunderland, we did carve out a couple of chances, especially in the second half, and were made to pay for not taking those. And at time of recording, and I'm guessing at time most people are listening to this, we're still a striker short, and that's going to be our biggest problem this season, isn't it?
Hey, look, do you know what, West Ham fans? If I was a West Ham fan last night, I really wouldn't be talking too much about the game. I would just be going, we got through against a difficult team, 10 men who can get in the next round. You wouldn't want to digress that game too much, because you actually come out with a lot of negative stuff on the side of it. Let's be honest with you. They bought on a player that's going to cost more than what it's going to cost to build our new ground. So you have to realise they spent a hell of a lot of money, and they should batter us. You know, one thing I took away from the evening was how good a second string team is. And they made 9 changes. I was chatting, I've got a West Ham fan at work, and they said they got 9 changes, and I said that scares me, because we struggled against the second string. And I don't know if you remember the days of second strings coming down to, in the day when people did play proper, second string teams. You had a chance. I felt last night that they were quicker to every ball, they were fitter, they were stronger. So West Ham fans, really, if they're trying to say they battered us, yeah, they did. But you should do a 10 men on that sort of side of it. I agree with what you're saying in terms of working the keeper. We haven't worked the keeper. Last night, I think if you look at the stats, they had 28 shots, 11 on target, which is not a bad return. But even though Tom King dived for most of them, they weren't because they were difficult. It's just because he tried to waste time, didn't he, getting up on the side of it. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about West Ham, what they say.
But are you worried about the lack of goals? I know I threw.
Sorry, I was trying to think what the question was.
I threw so much at you in that last point. Yeah, goals. So the reason
I was trying to think what the main point was.
The reason I reference that is because we've been talking about this fourth striker for a long time, and yes, Joe Pigot's doing fantastically for us at the moment, but it's Joe Pigott and James Hansen at the moment, because Kwesi Appiah, injured for the Sunderland game, came out, rolled his ankle at the end of the Walsall game, so he was missing on Saturday, came in for the 10-15 minutes on Tuesday night in the Cup. I think he's our third choice striker now, and I wanted to discuss this with you. There was a great interview with Michael Owen that was on BT Sport last week. I don't have BT Sport. I think the majority of people would have caught it on Twitter, on social media when it was put out there. He was talking about how injuries forced him to change his style, but he was quite open and honest. Yes, it changed his style, but it also prevented him from doing things where he would be consciously choosing not to run in certain areas or close down players, because he was simply worried that his body would fail him. And I think that's where we are with Kwesi now, which is a real problem. Tuesday night, as I mentioned to you earlier before we recorded, one of the first things that Kwesi did was get an opportunity to press their centre-half where the ball fell to him, and Kwesi didn't do it. And having watched James Hansen, as not 100% match fit that he is yet, he was still doing that for his entire performance on Tuesday. Kwesi couldn't do it within 30 seconds of coming on the pitch. It's a massive concern, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. When Kwesi signed, I was like, wow, we had him on loan. He scored goals for Ghana in the African nations. He went to Reading, got injured. That's been a little bit of, he's had a lot of injuries, and I remember when he played against us was it Cambridge when he came with Kai? And I remember, and he was all action, pace, power, running at defenders, running in behind, wanting to stretch defenders. And I don't see that. I don't see that in Kwesi anymore. And there's nothing wrong in that, because you're right. We both before we started recording, talked about the Michael Owen interview, which is a great interview and a very honest interview. And you could tell that of Michael Owen, because when he went to Newcastle, when he went to Man United, when he went to Real Madrid, he scored different goals and to compare Michael Owen and Kwesi Appiah is unfair, because Michael Owen had a great natural instinct to score goals, any types of goals, but he was basically saying he couldn't run at full pace anymore. He couldn't run into the channels because he was scared. And to me, not saying that, it's difficult to say someone's scared, because Kwesi's a very confident character. If you look at his general, when he's on the pitch, he's generally confident, but you can tell by his body language and what he doesn't do, and what he's obviously thinking. And at the moment, I don't think he's not our first choice striker. He's already been injured already, so he's already rolled his ankle. Yes, that can happen to anybody, but again, it's another injury that he's got. We have to do something desperate in the transfer window, because I think if we rely on only 3 in terms of Pigott, Hansen and Appiah, and I say that in that order because I think that's your pecking list, we've got problems. because I don't think we're going to get enough games out of Kwesi. Hansen was injury prone for the last couple of seasons, so there's no proof that he can play 30 games a season. So this window is massive, and we need it because of all the approach play and all the good stuff we're doing. If we don't score goals, then confidence is going to start seeping away.
So far, what hasn't been a problem is the fans in getting behind the side, and 3 home defeats on the spin in a week, and we're still clapping them off every single time, which I think speaks volumes for the way we're approaching our football this season as a team. And we do have to say, especially on Tuesday, the efforts of your Toby Civics, your Will Nightingales, your Osolages I've already mentioned. James Hansen, I think, has really won people over when they weren't perhaps as sure at the very, very start of the season. It's still, despite results, it's still a real positive feeling around the place. Yeah,
there is. And do you know what they deserved? One thing, my biggest bugbear on Tuesday night, or last night, we know we're recording obviously on Wednesday. My biggest bugbear was when the third goal went in, we saw a stream of fans going out. I thought the least they deserved. I get it, it's a midweek and you can get the 131 bus quicker if you get out first, or you get to your car quicker, or get to Norburton for the last train. But I just think the performance they put in against 10 men of a really strong West Ham team, the least they deserved was a round of applause from the fans. And even though they got that, I just felt a little bit disappointed that fans left. So, I understand what they do. How long does that... It's like a honeymoon period, isn't it? It's like Neil Wardy's got the honeymoon period of fresh signings, really good signings as well. And do you know what? He's alluding, in his interviews, to the fact that it's a result business. So I think he knows as well that there's only so long he can rely on the fact that we play lovely football. There's only so long we can rely on the fact that we've got a few chances, have been a bit unlucky, when before fans go, well, we're sitting in the bottom 4 and it don't look unlucky now. And that's how quickly it can turn, because I think we're playing with a lot of confidence, but we also do have a team that is young. We've got a young, hungry team that also can be a team that's young and can all of a sudden just lose confidence just like that. And that's why we sort of need a cheap goal. You know, the goals I talk about where they just come off someone's backside, or, the mistakes that players make. Last night, for the goal we scored, it's a humdinger of a goal. You can't always keep scoring those sort of goals, do you know what I mean? So I think Iwani's a realistic person. He knows that he's got to get scoring goals, but before the window shuts at 5 p.m. on Friday, so when people are listening to this, hopefully we've got at least one through the door and not lost our captain at the same time.
We will, of course, be talking more about the Burton game later on. You're right, we probably do need a win sooner rather than later. We don't want to go in. It'll be our 6th game of the season. We've not won in 4 in the league, so we will want to redress that balance. I want to quickly scan our eyes over League One. I think with the West Ham game taking most people's attention, we've probably not really paid much attention to actually how the league's shaping up now after 5 games. Apparently, I am led to believe Des Lynam would only ever look at a league table after 5 games, so it seems fair that we just cast our eyes over it. Some of the talking points that I think we should note: Peterborough, the only 100% record in the division, but I am told, having listened, so I've listened to the Not the Top 20 podcast. Check them out, Not the Top 20 pod on Twitter, on iTunes. Have a listen to them. They review all the Football League every single week, and they point out this week that despite Peterborough's 100% record, they are amongst the lowest, I think, for creating chances, bizarrely. Even though they won 5-1, they've beaten Luton 3-1. I think they had a 4-1 in there away at Rochdale or somewhere. And chances conceded is actually amongst the highest in the division. So there's a suggestion there that perhaps everything is going right for them at the moment, but it might not last. Everything seems to be going wrong at the moment for Plymouth and Shrewsbury, who, after great seasons last time out, are finding it a lot harder at the start of this season.
Yeah, well, Peterborough should do well because they've done well with their investment. They got the manager from Crawley, haven't they, who never goes anywhere unless they've got some money being spent, what way or not, one way or the other. Plymouth did this last year, didn't they? Let's not forget they come to our place, rock bottom of the league, and we then famously decided to play a counter-attacking game at home. But Plymouth have been here before, so are they slow starters, or is it really a case of just that team went on a great run and for whatever reason found their mojo and kept going? Do you know what I mean? So, hey, we've got Plymouth soon, so let's hope they keep losing. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? But it's always to lose 5-1 at home, that's a thumping. So, Yeah, Peterborough doing well. They got good players. They got Godden up front, who I was hoping that we might be interested in. But if Peterborough are interested, you're never going to get anywhere near them because they pay decent money, don't they? Yeah, some really interesting in results. Shrewsbury, not a surprise. I always felt that their manager was the big influence in that. Not a surprise. He got the Ipswich job. Remember, he bought quite a lot of loan players in, didn't he, as well? For Shrewsbury, helped them out.
You mentioned there Peterborough getting 5 away from home. Another team, Fleetwood, last week got 5 away at Scunthorpe. It led to Nick Dawes being the first manager sacked in League One this season, like I predicted on our season preview show. So I'm just going to pat myself on the back, Barry Horowitz style there for that one. Fleetwood actually unbeaten since the opening day, whereas we haven't won since the opening day. It's funny how these things turn around quite sharpish, doesn't it? So Fleetwood doing very, very well. Also interested in Doncaster because we picked them out as relegation candidates at the start of the season, and then they went and won their first 2 games, scoring 6 goals in the process. When we said goals would be their problem, they've not scored since. So I think Doncaster, that might well have been a flash in the pan at the very start of the season, and I expect that they will be sinking downwards very, very quickly. Is that unfair?
No. From rumours you hear about the league, Doncaster are among apparently the bottom 2 or 3 of spenders in terms of. So they got Marquis up front, haven't they? Who decent enough, but you don't rely on him too much in that sort of way. But yeah, Fleetwood. Fleetwood are okay. They've got good players. I don't think they've got a good manager, and I think that will soon tell. I don't think they're going to do much. In terms of Scunthorpe, they're an interesting one because they always keep knocking on the door, don't they? They've been there or thereabouts for the last 3-4 seasons. But I did notice that they brought in Stuart McCall today as their manager. So as it always happens, the same old managers go around and get the same old jobs, don't they? So Stuart McCall's walked into another decent job. Scunthorpe should be a decent team. They've got the players there too, and McCall would be looking to do better than he did at Bradford, who again are not doing anything great shakes, are they, this year?
No, they are struggling somewhat. Before we move on, some other issues around the club. We touched on this last week. We won't go into great depth this time round, but last week we spoke about the situation in the John Green stand. A little bit more news on this, with letters handed out to certain supporters that were deemed to be acting inappropriately towards stewards in that whole situation, and that hasn't been a problem this week with other fans. We'll wait to see what happens in future with that one, but a bit of an odd one to be handing out letters to these supporters, which basically says, can you come into the club for a chat about your behaviour? We felt it wasn't appropriate towards the stewards, like I said. Addresses of those supporters on the letters, but then handed to them in person on a match day, which is slightly odd. Now, I applaud the club here for communication, because they want to talk this through. They realise the situation there. It needs to be discussed. Absolutely. Get people in, discuss it, find a resolution to it. 100% on board with that. Makes all the sense in the world. Having seen the letter, it does go on a little bit of the attack of the fans and doesn't perhaps suggest there is fault with the stewarding as well. There are 2 sides to every story, and it felt like perhaps that side... you bring them in to talk about it, so obviously they're going to listen, which is fair enough, but the actual tone of the letter seems a bit accusatory more than conciliatory. And perhaps we need to, again, communication. It boils down to that word again, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm not a lover of... Hey, look, there must be a reason why they were handing out. Was it a case of that's the easiest way to... the quickest way to get to that? But I don't know if I would really want to be at a game at half-time when I'm already a little agitated and then receive a letter going, well, Joe, what, your name's on the list. Come and have a chat with us. Yeah, I don't know. I think communication is a real important thing, and from knowing some of the individuals involved, I think they do want to talk. But I think they've actually resolved it amongst themselves as what fans should do. I think especially a fans' own club should communicate between their fans. So I think the situation has been resolved, but look, we've all got, stewards are all different. All humans are different, aren't they? But I think the atmosphere they created, along with other fans in the John Green stand on Tuesday night, was good. I don't get this thing. Yeah, there's loads of ground regulations about you must sit down in your seat. But come on. I sit in the Paul Strength stand most times, And people are up out of their seat really, really early. Yes, they're not standing up the whole game, but they're still standing up. So where do you get, when does it look like it's becoming a little bit of a vendetta against a group of 20 people? It's not. If it was 100, then there'd be a problem. They probably won't go anywhere near that. But I do feel a letter at half time, a little bit sour, and I wouldn't be impressed with that. I'd rather go to my home address and deal with the letter when I'm a bit, we're all football, we're all a little bit, when you're at football and you're not winning games, which you're not at the moment, you're a bit agitated. So I wouldn't really want a letter at half time. And the letter could be worded a little bit more, we want to talk, but we don't actually, we've not made our mind up before you get in the door.
Other thing about Tuesday night was the attendance, less than 4,000. Does this speak to how the competition is viewed? Perhaps how people were expecting it not to be West Ham, but West Ham reserves? Were ticket prices too high? I mean, there are many considerations here. Yes, last week of August as well, so many people do go away. They choose, with the bank holiday as well, they choose to take some annual leave, save a day as well with the bank holiday. But still less than 4,000 is a disappointment, I feel. We didn't we didn't raise ticket prices, which is always good. But then the flip side to that is, could we have maybe knocked a few quid off some ticket holders in the main stand? £29. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, well, sometimes you don't realise how much a match day ticket is, because a lot of us play by season ticket, don't we? So, and those middle blocks are all season tickets from my understanding.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah, hindsight's always a great thing when you see the attendance. At the time, I thought the price was right. If I'm being honest with you, I think I'm still going to stick with that. I think there's loads of factors on Sky Sports. Again, during school holidays just finishing midweek. So did it take away the families? If you're a family of 4, for argument's sake, you could be looking in the excess of 100 quid. A lot of money for a one-off game. It was on Sky Sports. West Ham fans turned up. That was £10 cheaper than the £30 maximum now for Premiership away games, wasn't it? So for the West Ham fans, that was probably quite cheap for them. Yeah, do you know what? It's always you can always say after the event, can't you, should we have lowered the tickets? At the time, I thought the price was spot on. I was quite happy with it. It's just obviously seems for whatever reason we didn't have the full take up of our allocation.
Right, time for something completely different. Kirsty Gallacher again on 606. Now, this week, Stu, she's influenced Robbie Savage. She's brought him down to her level by the sounds of things. I also think, as I play the best bits of 606 this week with Kirsty Gallacher, I also wonder if they thought they were actually on Babe Station as opposed to Radio 5.
O'clock this evening. The number 0808 5909 693. Robbie Savage is dancing in the studio. You like that one?
Yeah, I like
it's a new one, isn't it? We like that one. Very good
one.
Indeed. Right, Ian, you are a Chelsea fan. You have come on the phone. Thank you very much indeed for coming on the phone. Hardcore. Robbie loves it, don't you?
Oh, Kirsty's gone big there.
I'm sorry.
You've gone big there.
Listen, if you mention the V word, you're gone. How many are in there?
Only one.
Only one, did you say?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, come on here. Another time.
I love that.
Don't mention the V word, whatever you do. You just can imagine, you can just picture what that studio is like. Ridiculous. Right.
Oh, that's
we can only imagine what that will be like next week. Anyway, Neil Coxless Bears. Right, Stu, this week we have the theme of 96-97 Wimbledon players. The reason is because I have found online Championship Manager 2 96-97. I am totally addicted to this game. It is ridiculously simple on reflection when you compare it to what Football Manager has become in the last 20 years, but great nostalgia trip. So I thought I'd pick up some Wimbledon squad players from that season. Yeah, cool. Which you're all happy with. And there's also a music theme for the second half. I've given the second half of the questions a theme this week, and that is simply music.
Cool.
So let's get going. Right back, we signed from Fulham.
From Fulham, right back. What season we talking about? 96, 97?
Yeah, 96, 97.
Oh, where did we sign? Was it Duncan Jutt from Fulham?
Jutt. Okay, second one then. Second part of the question. A name of a Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars song from 2014.
Duncan Jutt. I don't know. I'm not great at my music.
You're going to struggle with this week then.
Yeah, I'm all right. It depends really what music you're talking about. I'm not really good with new bands. I'm really sound like my dad now with all the new music. No, I can't think of the second one.
No, it was Duncan Joptown Funk.
Oh dear, I do know that.
I thought you might have done, but never mind. I wasn't really familiar with it other than I know the song and I know who sung it, so I couldn't really give you much more information, I'm afraid.
It's all right.
Anyway, next one. Okay, if you get this player, I'll be impressed. This is a forward that we signed from Chester City in 1990.
Aidan Newhouse.
Wow, well impressed.
Hey, look, my old stuff. I remember old players. I was chatting to Marketeer about this when we saw Gary. Oh, I forgot his name now. That's going to make me laugh now.
That's amazing.
Gary Bennett, who was the old Sunderland centre half. Yeah, Aidan Newhouse. I remember.
Aidan Newhouse, who is playing left wing for me on Championship Manager. He's an ever-present as we've gone to the top of the Premier League. It's not realistic whatsoever.
It's not realistic at all.
No. Okay, second part of this song. This is the band that wrote and performed Caravan of Love.
Oh, this is Aidan Newhouse Martins.
Very good. See how well it works.
It's only taken me 5 weeks. 6 weeks?
Hey, it only took us 9 years, Stu. So.
Hey. Boom, boom.
Good name for a podcast, that, wouldn't it?
It is.
Number 3, I've switched it round this time. So this time, the musical theme question is the first half, and then the player name is the second part. Okay?
Yep.
So this is a Cuban-American lead singer of Miami Sound Machine.
Gloria Estefan.
Do I even have to give you the second clue?
Gloria Estefan. Oh, would it be embarrassing if I got the last bit wrong?
Yes.
Gloria Estefan Cuckoo.
There we go. Gloria Estefan Cuckoo.
Me and my wife were talking about this the other day. We were wondering how old Gloria Estefan was because,
you're talking about Estefan Cuckoo.
No, we were wondering how old Gloria Estefan was. Quality Miami Sound Machine. Great songs. Timeless music.
Oh dear. If you know how old Gloria Estefan is, we could Google this and find it out for ourselves. But in that typical sort of online message board way, we'll ask if anyone knows because that's what people do. Even though if you're on the internet, just Google it yourself. How lazy is it? But if you just tweet us at 9YRS Podcast and you can just put Gloria Estefan is however many years old and Stu will buy you something nice.
It was saying that Madonna was 60, which I was amazed that she was 60 and she's still performing.
Yeah, okay. Wrestling one then to finish off. First half of this you normally get Academy graduate centre half who is now the Academy manager at Millwall.
Oh, Scott Fitzgerald. And then the second part is a one-time WWF hardcore champion, a well-known stooge of Mr. McMahon during the Attitude Era. It's very straightforward for the wrestling fans here. It is Scott Fitzgerald Briscoe. Wow. I sometimes realise how little I know about WWE. Oh, and by the way... It has
been noted. Oh, yes, go on. I know what you're going to say here.
We may have a WWE fan amongst the Wimbledon first team, we believe.
You can you explain this one. I have nothing.
Well, it's just Anthony Wordsworth, not explaining what he does with his magical balls or pearls or anything like that. Wow. Was talking about. I think you made a WWE comment. I was like, Nick, mate, you might have another one of those WWE fans. You never know. So
that
if you are.
Pales, as happy as I was to find this out that he may well have been a WWE fan, judging by the nature of the tweet, he was probably watching WWF back in the late 90s, early 2000s when it was at its peak of popularity in modern popular culture with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and what have you. However, unfortunately, that's been now totally overshadowed by the fact that the next time I see him, I'm going to have to speak to him about his magical balls that you've just referenced.
I can't remember what they're called. They're pearls, aren't they? And it's...
like stones and crystals, not balls.
Well, they're the
Kirsty,
same sort of size, aren't they?
I don't know. What? Sorry, what?
I've not seen these pearls, to be honest with you, but I think it's a great story, and I think and the story behind it is excellent as well. Do you know what I mean? So I think whatever gives you that positivity in life is great.
I think we've just totally ruined that for him.
I'm going to try and chat to him next I see him and just see what is this like in WWE? We can't be having that.
Alexa Bliss is a goddess, Stu. Right, competition time. So on Facebook this week, on our Facebook page, facebook.com/9YRS podcast, Stu very kindly is going to buy a programme for the winner of this competition. That is correct, is it not, Stu?
It is. I don't really buy programs anymore, to be honest with you, because I just can't read.
So you're going no, you can't read. But you are
Look at the pictures.
You are going to buy it for somebody else, which is very, very kind of you.
Of course I will.
Yeah, just finding that one out now.
Thank you.
With us having played West Ham, see where I'm going with this, Ham this week, we were looking for Wimbledon player/food puns. Our example was Chris Hasibas. It could have easily have been Muesli Sidwell.
I like that.
Could easily have been Muesli O'Leary or Muesli Minchell, but we went for Muesli Sidwell. So we had quite a lot of responses to this, Stu. So basically, I'm going to read these out now. I've avoided the overwhelming majority of these. I've not looked at Facebook until now. And we'll just judge which one is the best and which one will get a programme of their choice at an upcoming Wimbledon game. So we will start with David King, who started off, and he's, by his own admission, terribly, with Kwesi Appiah strudel. I think he was going.
I like that.
You really? Doesn't apple strudel kind of work? Appiah strudel doesn't really work.
But he's done well trying to pick a player that's got a dodge, a bit of a difficult name to get a pun in. I like that.
Okay. Well, he's also gone for Liam Trotters.
Okay.
Cody McDonald's. I think we're going to have to rule out brand names. I don't think we can go for. I think it has to be sort of a type of food as opposed to a brand name.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cody McDonald's is quite straightforward. Bob Wales went for... This is one I'd already seen, but it still makes me laugh. Kwesi Appiah.
I like that.
I like that.
Very little work to be done there. I like that.
I like Kwesi Appiah. That's my winner so far.
Yeah,
right.
I like that.
Stuart Rolfe. John Hashanu. That could be on dodgy territory.
Yeah, stay on that one.
For many reasons. Stuart Young. I think there's a few people looking down the list that have multiple entries. Sorry, Kirsty. Stuart Young went for... Okay. Stuart Young's had so many entries, I'm not reading that one out. Bob Wales again. Alan Pork.
Yeah, I like that.
Dennis Fries.
Clever.
Our level is so low, it's unreal. The
I know.
students barely laughed at Dennis Fries. Andy Taco Bell. That's a brand name. Otherwise, I sort of ruled those out.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Stuart Rolfe again. Toby Ribbick.
Yeah.
Stuart Rolfe back again with Alan Pork Chops. I think Alan Pork worked. I think we're pushing it with Alan Pork Chops, I think.
Yeah.
Stuart Young, Dave Fry-Up.
Yeah, I like that.
Stuart Rolfe again. It's like table tennis. It's back and forth between these two. Dave Fry-Up. Yeah, I'll give you that one. Stuart Rolfe, Neil Ardleebin's Biscuits.
Wow, that's he's been overthinking that one.
Is that a type of biscuit, or is that the brand name of the biscuit? I don't know.
Not sure. I'm also wondering where's Ray Arfield one? Does he not enter this week?
Doesn't look like it, I'm afraid.
I'm disappointed.
This is Facebook, not Twitter. That might be why.
Where's Mr. Arfield?
Mark Hendrich, don't know. Dave Bassett, All Sorts.
Yeah, like that, but it's Mark, so I'm not going to say yes to that.
Yeah, and it's brand name, and you can't have that. Stuart Rolfe again. I promise you more people do get involved later on. Patrick Aggie Mango Chunks. Yeah, that's clever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. I can't believe I'm laughing at this. It's Stuart Rolfe again. Efan Coca-Cola.
I like that.
It's a brand name, technically.
Oh, damn, it is. But I still like that.
Yeah, can't have it. Scott Whittington, Tom Burger King. Yeah, again. Andy Bart Champagne.
Yeah, clever.
Noah Broad, Louis Cucumbers.
Louis Cumbers, who can forget him?
We have clearly. Anne-Marie Godfrey, she's got, her second one actually, might be the winner here. Andy Bartram and cheese sandwich, that's quite good. Eggley Carjarampa, can't even say it. Oh, we've got our winner. This is one, because I can't even say it because I'm laughing too much. Eggley Carjam Roly Poly.
It's out of that, isn't it? All the Bartram and the cheese sandwich.
We've still got a lot to come.
I've got my own one, but I'm going to say my one just in case it's been done.
But you can't win it because then you're just buying yourself a programme. That's rubbish.
I know, but I've just thought about it on the. I'm not very good at sort of spontaneous thinking. I've just thought one on the spot, but I'll see if anyone else has got it yet.
Okay, Jerome Francis has gone for Bean Holdsworth. I like that for its simplicity. Efan Ikokovan.
A what? A cuckoo?
Kokovan.
Ah, okay.
I think I pronounced
But
it.
they didn't even pronounce that way, did they, really?
Yeah, Efan Ikokovan, yeah. Jason Yuletide Log. Yep, very good. I think we might have used that on a Christmas players pun a little while ago, but Jason Yuletide Log, definitely. Robbie Earl Grey, obviously that was a Neil Cox's Pairs answer at the very start. And Keith Curly Whirly. It's a brand name.
Damn.
Such a shame.
That's a shame, isn't it?
Oh, Curly Whirly.
But it is Keith Curl. I don't really want him winning something out of that.
Sorry, Joey Fisher. Oh, this is going to be hard to pick a winner now. So we've got Vinnie Gar-Jones, right? Very good.
Yeah, like
Dave Bassett's Licorice All Sorts. Yeah, we can't have that one. This one I like. Marcus Cascale.
Okay.
Oh dear.
Interesting.
Yeah. Oyvind Lulean Hansen. Oh, Joey.
Again, at
Fair
least you had
play.
to try with a dodgy name.
I think he might be a winner here. Nigel Roman Coker. It's dodgy ground. Going for Nigel Ria Coker for various reasons.
Yeah, stay away from that one.
Less that said about that better. Martin Graskopf. Detsy Krasinski Yogurt. It's a brand name. It's so good, but it's a brand name. I think I was too quick to rule out brand names. I wasn't expecting so many.
I wanted to win because Detsy Krasinski was one of my first favourite players. Wimbledon.
One of your firsts.
Yeah, it's between him and Seegers when I first went. They were both nutcases.
Fair enough. Stuart Young's back again. Andy Littlechef. Again,
Yeah,
brand name.
brand name.
Dave Abbott. Dean Holdsworth's Originals. That's quite good. It's a brand name, though. And also Dean Holdsworth. John Main Course.
Simple
but effective. It's made me chuckle.
Yeah.
Simon Hazel, Taylor's Port, and then Tate and Lyle Taylor. Again, the damn brand names, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
Andy Starbarcham. See, Josh Benham. Callum Buster Barnes. Seb Brown Bread. I hope he's not. But
yeah, that's worrying.
Seb Brown Bread. Yes, as Toby James replies, I hope he's not Cockney because, Richard Lonsdale, Pigots in Blankets.
I like that.
Yeah, that's good. Michael Overall has got quite a few here. James Ham's son.
Yeah.
Kwesi Appiah. Tom King Prawn. Yeah.
Oh, that was my one. Damn you. I like that.
Michael, if you are listening, which I'm sure you are, you have the same thought process as Stu. I'm very sorry for breaking that bad news to you.
Yeah, true.
Tom Mint Saws. That's quite good. Scott Wagyu Staff. Anthony Hearty Grains. I kind of like that. And finally, Anthony... I'm not sure this can win, but Anthony Eat Your Wordsworth. Which is some sort of postmodern... interpretive way of looking at the competition here. Right, Dominic Francis. I'm not sure you've understood the competition, but I want to give you it anyway because I like wrestling. Bret Hitman Hartson.
Oh.
It's not really a food or kind of it's
it's different.
Marco Cura. He's got a few here. Alan Corcovan again. Yeah. Terry Filangustini? That's an Italian type of pasta that I don't know how to pronounce. So I might not be doing that one justice. I do apologise. I do have a Savaloivindlian Hartson. I can't even get it out. Savaloivindlian Hartson.
That's clever.
Good. That's good. And then lasagna Briley for Les Briley. Very good, Marco. Savaloy Harson's got a chance. These are the last few now. Russell Ainsley, Dave Pheasant. I like that one. Vaughan Fryan. John Fishscale. And Eric Young's Fish Pie. Unfortunately, Young's Fish Pie, of course, a brand name, doesn't count. And then finally, Toby James back again with Dave Fryup, Noel Frankenfurter. And I can't pronounce this one, Toby. I'm really sorry. I'm not a food connoisseur. I shouldn't have really done a food one, considering I turn on my TV and see a cooking show or a baking show and throw my telly out the window. But Carlos Castronova... Oh, sorry, I've realised what it is now. How foolish of me. Carlos Castronovolavont. You're not feeling that one?
No.
That's a mouthful,
I think I know my winners anyway.
What's your winners then? You cannot have Tom King prawn.
No, that was one, because it was basic. I have to say, I loved the one with Piggotts and Blankets.
You liked Richard Lonsdale's?
Yeah, that
Piggotts
one and Bartram and Cheese.
Marcus Cuscale has really made me laugh, as did, I can't find it, Savaloy Vindley Hardson I liked a lot. Eggly Carge and Roly Poly will never not make me laugh. I don't know. I don't know how we decide this.
Maybe we just put a top three. We put it out to our listeners on Twitter.
So you're thinking take it from Facebook, put it on Twitter just to decide?
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe, winner. Okay. Well, maybe we put the poll on Facebook instead. We'll put the poll on Facebook. We'll put that up on Saturday morning, so people get a chance to listen to this without having it spoiled for them. So on Saturday morning, we'll put the poll up on Facebook, and then the winner will be decided in time for the Gillingham game. That seems fair, doesn't it?
Yeah, we get a programme coming. If you're there, if you're not at a game, then tough, I'm not going to buy it for you. And yeah, I'll buy you a programme for Gillingham.
Which, of course, comes exactly 1 week after Burton Albion, which is where we're off to on Saturday. Burton, 4 defeats from 5 in the league at the start of this season. Struggled to readjust to life back in League One. They did beat Villa in the Cup in midweek, but they had a few problems, didn't they, Tuesday? So, Stu, would you like to explain what... After that would be a good pun. Stewsday. We should make that. It's like Rusev Day.
Well, it did. It's interesting because just as much as your prediction about John Dawes.
John Dawes?
No, who's the manager? Mr. Dawes and Mr. Dawes.
Mr. Dawes. Nick
Can't remember
Dawes.
his first name. That's him.
You'd
Nick
think
Dawes.
with that first name, you might have remembered it. I'm not taking offence, but, you know.
I was going to call him George. What's the old George Dawes joke, but yeah. After Mr. Dawes at Scunthorpe got sacked, which was a great prediction, Bob, you then failed with Burton because you thought Burton was going to do well.
You can't say I failed after 5 games.
Of course, it's a 5-game league. You don't
let's give up now then. Sorry, thanks listeners for joining us this season.
You don't be in the bottom 4 after 5 games. Everyone knows that teams struggle, except for Plymouth and people like that. Yeah, they had obviously Tuesday night they beat Aston Villa at home 1-0, which is a good win. But at the cost of losing their keeper, Stephen Bywater, which we understand with a shoulder injury. So we understand from Burton's update on their website Wednesday evening that they're going to be going into a loan market for a loan keeper. I'm sure they'll be okay with that. But that's good for us because it probably means that they're going to have a goalkeeper who's probably done no training with their first team. They also lost their right back, John Brayford, with a tight hamstring. Looks like he's going to be doubtful for Saturday, and also they have a suspension because they had a player sent off late on for a deliberate handball on the line. Wow, the referee did see one. McFadzean was sent off, so he has one match ban. And he rings the bell, McFadzean. He was ex-Crawley, if I remember properly.
Oh, I think he was somewhere far worse than Crawley as well.
And how can you play for them and Crawley? That's like, if you really want to be hated by fans, just do that. Anyway, so yeah, they've got a few suspensions. So yeah, you're right. They haven't had a great start.
Few injuries and a suspension.
Suspensions, yeah. So yeah, it should be interesting. Burton's a lovely place to go to. Brings back bad memories of a certain midweek game up there where it's sort of Terry Brown's final days was seen out. But
I've told you the story about Burton on the coach, haven't I?
That's why I thought I'd bring it up because it's always a funny story.
The story about the Wimbledon fan who was chatting to me on the coach on the way back, who who thought that the same Burton player had scored all 6 goals because every single Burton goal scorer that evening was black.
I remember phoning you, going, Nick, where are you? There's no traffic. It's lovely out here. And you were stuck on the motorway. The coach hit traffic, if I remember properly. You arrived like just on kickoff, if I remember properly.
Yes, basically, I got into the stadium in time to see Burton hit the post. And I thought, phew, we got away with that one. And then I went, I haven't got a programme yet. So I then ducked behind the terrace to buy myself a programme and then returned to the terrace just in time to see them go 1-0 up. And Warren Cummings was struggling, shall we say.
That was that era, wasn't it? But yeah, anyone not been Burton, loving the way we're playing and stuff like that, isn't too sure of to go. Burton's a lovely club, very similar size club to ourselves. Lovely part of the world. So if you're undecided, pop along. But yeah, I do remember that was probably the worst 2 games I can remember back to back, which was Burton away on the Tuesday, which was 6-2, and then Bradford away on the Saturday, which was 5-1. So I do remember it very, very well. That was probably the worst 2 away games back to back I've ever gone to. But yeah, different Burton that won a championship, and probably now just adjusting to the life back in League One. And you can probably imagine that they've gone from a championship, which is obviously a better style, better players and stuff like that, and gone into the hustle and bustle of League One, where really, if you don't play well, you're not going to be on the wrong side of a defeat, aren't you? So,
indeed, yeah. They're still making nice suits, though. Right, it's prediction.
Sorry, trying to get over that. I'm quite confident after their injuries and they're still adjusted to life in League One. I think we're going to go there and win 2-0.
That is very confident. They are struggling for goals. I think Liam Boyce basically scores their goals, and if he doesn't, no one else does. They've still got some good players, though. They've still got Marvin Sordell, Stephen Quinn, Chris Beardsley. They should be doing better come the end of the season. I'm certain they'll be in the top half.
Well, they've still got Lucas Atkin, who I still think is the luckiest player to be a footballer. He was like Eddie Aziz, but still kept a career and played in the Championship. I don't know how.
Aziz is still scoring goals in the Football League, Stu.
Yeah, and I probably just jinxed that. I shouldn't have said that, should I, really? But yeah, trust me, he's not... Hey, look, he's better than me at football, but yeah, he's Eddie Aziz from the Championship. I miss Eddie Aziz. Let's get him back.
There are some days I just want to press record and just have you talk to yourself for an hour and just see what comes out.
I do miss Eddie. I do miss him. I just think it was so exciting to see him go through a 1-on-1 and just think, is he going to scuff it and score?
You had such faith in the man. Well, speaking of faith, I think we might be in line for another 0-0 draw. I have to be honest. I think exertions from the pair of us this week are going to be knackered, both of us, and they haven't drawn a game yet, so they're probably due a draw. Yeah, probably just cancel each other out. Another game in League One that you're looking forward to, or you're keeping a particular eye on?
There's a couple. So I think you got a team, the battle of the, well, not all the teams are promoted, but Wycombe versus Luton on the Saturday. So that's 10th versus 17th. I think that'll be quite interesting. Wycombe obviously looking to get going really, and Luton, yeah, not really living up to their tag of doing well in this league at the moment. Playing. You got the derby. You got Pompey versus Plymouth.
Oh yes, of course, the derby game. How can I forget the famous Plymouth-Portsmouth derby?
The South Coast derby.
Oh wow.
And Peter and Doncaster.
Yeah.
I know. When I saw that, I couldn't resist it. I was like, it's got to be they hate each other. There's such a derby there. I
cannot believe I'd forgotten about that whole thing. We were just like, oh yeah, there's local rivals.
It's like the El Clasico, isn't it? You know, Barcelona and Madrid. They don't have to be right next to the door to each other to be a derby, but they're not far away from each other. So, yeah, the old Clasico.
Yeah, all right, whatever. Yeah, Shrewsbury Bristol Rovers is what I'm going for because they've started the season poorly. So I'm interested to see which one of those two might get a result. It'll probably be a draw and be very, very boring. But
Bristol Rovers, they're not doing well, are they? The old locals are not happy.
No. A bit of a strange season for them, I suggest. But anyway, right. That's probably enough for us for 1 week. Thank you very much for joining us. Updates from Burton. I'm guessing Stu will be on social media. It's pretty much down to you, I think, this weekend. So I should probably ask you first if there are any updates at all.
I'll be doing updates and hopefully many, many goals.
Hopefully so, yes. But that'll be Twitter, Instagram, all the usual at 9YRS podcast. In the meantime, AFC Wimbledon Business Club this week, they are doing topiary with former Barnsley midfielder Neil Redfern. You see what I've done there. Very clever, I felt. I would, because it's my joke. We'll be back next Thursday with a look at that Burton game. I will be on Love Sport Radio discussing it on Sunday. lovesportradio.com. Other than that, thank you very much for joining me, Stu.
No problem.
Alexa Bliss, bag first, milk last. We will see you. No, we won't. We will speak to you again next week.
They'll sing about girls and cars, sneaking in the bars, drunk fist fights and battle scars. Lord, how I wish those days were mine. And they'll sing about smoking in the glory days, chasing the ones that got away. Lord, I could spend this whole damn night dreaming about the sweeter times. Oh, you got your high school sweetheart. They're breaking all the rules. They're fogging up their windows and making